Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Canadian Sportscaster fights back. The Human Rights Tribunal is hearing an unusual case after a television personality has been fired for tweeting. Sportscaster Damien Goddard, former host of the show Connected, was fired from Rogers Communications after tweeting via social media in defense of a pro hockey scout who criticized an NHL player for endorsing same-sex marriage in a TV commercial. A week before his public defense of marriage, Goddard says he was given a ringing endorsement by his employer of the job he had done for Sportsnet up to that point in time, but denounced him as, quote, not the right fit for the organization, and fired within a week of the incident. Goddard's attorney said in a statement released yesterday that his termination, based on his Catholic beliefs, sets a dangerous precedent for all believing Canadians in an evolving world of social media. Environmentalist certification required. The Maryland State Board of Education has announced that environmental literacy will be a necessity in order to graduate. The state has created 2 work groups to go through current science courses in public schools across the state and do what they call revising standards for scientific education. The Washington Post says school systems can mold their programs however they like, as long as they stick with state standards. Currently, 48 other states are considering similar changes. Public accountability applied to abortion. Thanks to Operation Rescue, Utah regulators have promised to create a public database of licensed physicians operating in the state that have faced disciplinary action. The pro-life group got the attention of state legislators by pointing out the shady past of Nicola Riley, an abortionist operating in Utah who lied on medical license applications in 3 other states. Although Riley was involved with an underground late-term abortion ring in Maryland, which is currently under investigation for homicide, Utah's Department of Occupations and Licensing had no information on her history. Operation Rescue's senior policy advisor says, quote, putting this kind of information in the hands of the public will serve to prevent future tragedies and heartache. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
Protests rock Catholic communities. Violence has intensified for the second night in a row in Short Strand, Ireland, as Protestant youths riot through the Catholic community. Police say 400 rioters have been throwing bricks, bottles, and other missiles at each other in what is being called the worst sectarian violence in more than a decade. The violence is believed to have begun when pro-union Protestants attacked Catholic homes, sparking gunfire from both sides. Tens of thousands of Protestants belonging to the Orange Order march across Northern Ireland at this time every year, creating massive tension. The Irish conflict stems from sometimes violent disagreements between predominantly Protestant communities who want Northern Ireland to be part of the United Kingdom and predominantly Catholic groups who desire Irish independence. New York against gay marriage. Drivers in the Big Apple are voting with their horns on the issue. In a recent poll by the National Organization for Marriage, 57% of residents from the Empire State answered yes when asked if marriage should only be between a man and a woman.
The United States of America was built on a foundation of Christianity. And if George Washington stood today and heard of this, it's an abomination. He would never let this pass. Never let it pass.
59% of state residents also say they prefer that voters make the decision on the issue over legislators. It's interesting to note this information has barely been publicized at all, begging the question, where is the media? I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael talks about Obama and the Sacred Heart. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless.